Hey YouTubers, welcome back to another episode of Lemire Legends. If you've been following along, we're just about in the fun part of the process of mounting this dead mount rough grouse. This is going to go, this wire here will go into the mouth of a red fox. And we're going to prop this wing down like this. We're going to drop these legs down. We're going to trade this tail out for a new tail. And we're going to continue the process. So if you haven't caught up, please go back, watch the first couple episodes on how this has been assembled so far. And thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and let's get started. So what we're gonna, the end game here is, of course, just to have some fun. Now we got all our wires in here. We got a foam rigid body. I applied just a little bit of cotton right in here to fill out the front of the breast. And we're going to start to sew this together. Just basically get the borax that was dried on the needle off of there. Just a simple needle and some thread, a knot in the end. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go underneath the skin. Okay, we're going to put the needle underneath there like that, out the top, and we're just going to cross stitch back and forth, underneath and back out the top, back and forth, just some whip stitches. Same thing on that side. Okay, and then after you get a couple of stitches in there, carefully don't pull any extra feathers out. And the only thing you really got to watch for is that your thread does not get hooked around any of these wires. And we'll just continue that process. Well, this is kind of hard to see where the stitching is going with all this these feathers here and everything, but it will come together. It's going to work out perfect, just like that. Okay, just catch the edge of the skin, pull this together. We got a nice fit on the bird form. We showed you that in the last episode, that this pulls together really nice. It's going to come together perfect. And then what we did down in here, just to hold this foam in place, is we just put a couple of T-pins so that the foam here doesn't protrude out the bottom. You want to make sure that this right here is going to close up just like that. Okay, so let's continue this stuff. This is going to take 3-4 minutes here to stitch this together. I'm just going to basic whip stitch it real quick. Nothing critical. This is a dead mount. If this breast was exposed in any other type of a mount, you know, you'd want to do a little better job, of course, of finishing up your seam. But this dead mount is going to go this breast area right here we're stitching. This is going to go push right up against the fox. You're not going to see any of this anyway. It's all going to be hid. You know, if you were stitching this any other way, you'd want to make sure that these feathers all stay. You know, if you're going to do you know, a strutting grouse or a drumming grouse, you'd want to make sure you had a nice breast pattern, everything all lined up here. But like I said, this is just a dead mount. Nothing critical. It's not going to be seen. We're just going to go back and forth here. Real quick. You could spend 20 minutes, a half an hour on this, stitching, get all anal about it. But this is like I said, a commercial mount, and I'll say it again, that this is not critical. You're not going to see any of this anyway, and it's in the fox's mouth. So this is live and unedited, so we're just going to do this real quick. I don't want to bore you to death watching me sew Granny's dress together here. In the next episode, while I'm doing this, I can fill you in on what we're going to do. Is I'm going to take the tail off of this bird because it was badly damaged, and this is a bird that I harvested personally, And this is, like I said, just going to go in the mouth of a fox. It's not a client's bird or anything. If it was, you just probably want to replace 1 or 2 feathers. You won't want to replace the whole tail. They usually want all of their critter back. But I'm going to show you anyway how to dry a tail and then insert it into a grouse, and that'll be in the next episode. So, but this is where all the magic happens, and this is the fun part of it. We get the stitching done right here, and we start some posing, and you'll really see the transition come around. You can see that's coming together. Okay. This is a little bit damp right here. When these feathers start to dry a little bit, this is gonna pre-note a little bit better. Won't be a problem. And this is part of taxidermy. I don't want to bore anybody by having you watch me sew this together for 10 minutes, but this is part of the process, and it is what it is. So what we're going to do here is we're going to remove our T-pins. I'm going to put another stitch or 2 in this bird. One right here. Be careful I don't lose my thread out of my needle. Got a bad habit at that. Thread is cheap, and I always cheap out on my thread. I don't know why, but it just seems to be the case. I just don't like to pull 17 miles of thread through my my sewing job. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of my needle there. Stick that into my foam so I don't lose it. Okay. And there's a little bit of foam exposed right here, but that's fine. We bring the new tail into here, and we secure that in there. This will all dry. It'll work out really nice. So what we're gonna do here is just to close this up. I'm gonna go back in here with the T-pin. We're gonna bury that in this foam mannequin. Tie this knot off, everything at one time. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Pardon the pun there, but so anyways, there we go. T-pin, just like that. Cinch down, just wrap your thread around there, and that will be hid. You'll never see that. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna pull these legs together. We're gonna push them up into the body a little more. And we're gonna have one hanging down a little bit farther than the other one, just like you would imagine a dead bird, okay? One just like this, one like this. Okay, then we're just gonna give them a little tweak. One like that, and one like this. I'll give that a little more action. And once we get it up on our board here, we can really do some final preening and stuff, but that's gonna give us an idea where we're gonna be at. The reason I do that, just to get close, is I like to get rid of these wires. I don't like all this wire hanging here when I'm trying to do the rest of what I gotta do. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take my little nippers here, and I'm gonna leave that about a 1/2 inch long, just like that. So that gives you options. You can adjust now. We can come right here. We can come longer, or we can come shorter like this. And at the very end, we can bend this down right here, and we can snip it again if we need to. But this gives us roughly 1/2, 3/4 inch play the way we can move that leg right now. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing on this one. Just gonna fold that up, and we're gonna nip this, leaving just a little bit extra exposed. Carefully don't cut your toe off, your bird. And hang on to that wire. That thing will go flying. Just like that. Okay, so we got that done. The next thing, I did this off camera because it's a little bit easier. That way I don't have to go digging for an eye and lose it off the table here. We're working on it. I just inserted the eye into the clay that was right here. Okay, this is still nice and damp, this eyelid. What I did is I just pushed it in from the bottom right here first, and then I brought the top of the eyelid right around like this. All right, so I'm close. It's in there. We're gonna adjust this. We're gonna pull the top of the eyelid down more of a dead mount. We're not going to have a big wide open eye. We want to close this up to reenact, you know, the dead phase of the bird where the eye is 3/4 of the way shut. But at least it's in there for now, and we're going to get rid of this wire too in a little bit. So, all right, let's get after the next part of this. The next thing I want to do, I'm just going to move that up so it's out of my way. This is the back side of the bird. This is going to be right up against the fox's jaw. Okay, and this is in any bird mount you do. You want to get this part of the feather right here. Okay, you want to just fold that right in, tuck that right in just like that, right underneath the tip of these breast feathers right here. And if you look at a real bird for the symmetry and your reference, you're gonna get an idea how to do that. But for a dead mount, not too critical. Like I said, this is going to be in the mouth of the bird or the fox. You're not going to see any of that anyway. And just to hold that into place, I'm going to use one T-pin, just like that. Basically, I just pushed it right through into the foam mannequin, and we'll leave it exposed just a little bit, just like that. Okay, that's the first part of it. I'm straighten out my primary feathers here, so they're all laying the way they're supposed to. You know, you want them stacked on top of each other. It looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. Then the next thing I want to do is that piece of leg wire I took off of there. I'm going to use that. I'm going to push that right into. I should have a tip on this. That'll help a little bit. These foam mannequins are a little tougher, like I said before. We could get a propane torch and we could heat this up and it would slide right in there, just like a knife through butter. But so I put a little tip on that, just like that. Not a big deal. And we're going to put that right inside of there. Bring in the persuader here. We'll get her done. What this is going to do when this wing dries right here, no problem. This wing dries right here, it'll stay right in place. There we go. Okay, and then we're just going to fold that. I'm just going to put a 90-degree bend on it, just like that. That way I'll have some flexibility when this goes inside the fox's mouth. I can adjust that in or out. But for now, that just temporarily holds the swing in place until we get to the final preening adjustments. So that's where we're at. Now you can see on this bird that we have a good pattern here on the feathers in the back of these grouse, and it's critical that I use a soft absorbent mat right here for this part of this bird isn't getting pounded back and forth in something rough, because these little feathers right here, it's hard to recreate. If you lose a whole bunch or they get beat on, it's hard to go back, and you can, but it's just extra preening and monkey business. So I think on a grouse, especially on a flying mount or where this part of the back is going to be exposed, I really think it's important that you get a good specimen and doesn't have a lot of problems there, and not a lot of shot, not a lot of blood, and otherwise you're going to get this going on right here. And this little bit here, we can it's called preening, when you take, you know, a piece of a wire, and you could spend literally, for competition birds, you could spend 20 hours doing this to get everything laid really nice. But for commercial work, literally just 5 or 10 minutes, you'll get what you want. But that's down the road. That gives you an idea what preening is. Preening, Preening, preening. That's what that is. Just like a duck, and they hear him say he's preening his feathers, you know, when he's floating on the lake or whatever. Basically the same thing. So, not to panic, we lost some tail feathers here, but we're going to change out this whole tail anyway. So we've taken it that far. And the next one, what we're going to do is we're going to bring this wing down. We're going to pin this open just like this. Working kind of quick here. If you're following along in the last one, we got epoxy sculpt in here. We roughly got a couple hours of time before this sets, and we're a little bit flexible now. And what that did is just bulked it up here. When that sets hard, this wing is going to stay right in place right there. It's just going to dry rock hard. Right now we can slide this up and down, back and forth. We can make our adjustments the way we want. But once this clay in here sets, that's going to help hold these primary feathers in place and stabilize this wire into this bird right here. It's going to make it so it's going to bring us a nice support. Like I said, we want to turn and burn this bird. Changing out this tail right now usually takes a week or 10 days for a tail to dry, even with low humidity. You know, when the tail's all fanned out, it's going to take some time. But if we change this tail out right now, we put a new tail on it, and we're going to show you in that next one how to do that, how to dry a tail beforehand, so you don't have to wait for all that dry time to kick this bird out for commercial work. So anyways, just monkeying with that. Please like, subscribe again, and follow us along for the next one. Thanks a lot.